Demetria, and I use this channel to share information about homeschooling as well as business. I love helping moms and women in business, women creatives. And on this particular video though, I'm going to be talking more about homeschooling because I have been having a lot of requests about just kind of taking you through my journey of home education, preschool through 12th grade, and some of my tips and advice about these different grade levels and what is like homeschooling in them. So my last video was about homeschooling middle school, and so I may do one about high school. This one, I'm going to take you all the way back to the beginning, and we're going to talk a little bit about preschool. So some of you watching do have little ones, and I have a heart for these little babies. I love just really helping to shape the minds of our little ones, ages 4 and 5. That's just one of my passions. It's one of my callings in life, I believe. I have many callings, but one of them is those preschool babies. I really love them. I love that age group. I think they're the most pliable at that age. They are like sponges. They're open, they're willing to learn, they're ready to learn. And whatever you put in them is that's gonna be it for a good number of years. You're really setting them for what is ahead. So use that age range to really just pour into them the best you can, right? And there's so many resources available, so much to help you. So on this video, I'm going to give you some tips about what you can do for homeschooling preschool. Now, first thing I want to share with you is please don't put too much pressure on yourself or on your babies. When it comes to homeschooling, you don't really want to look at it as necessarily that you're homeschooling, like that you're schooling them, because in essence they are so young that you really don't need to put any programs in place or be too structured with these little babies. You really just need to spend time with them and have fun with them, but having some idea of how you want to incorporate academics into the day in a very loose and untraditional way. I would say it that way because I think when you think about homeschooling, most people tend to think of academics and structure. But when you're thinking of homeschooling your babies ages 3, 4, and 5, I would recommend that you don't put too much emphasis on the academics, although that will be integrated throughout your day. So the first thing I'm going to recommend is that you make your homeschool days with your younger ones play-based learning, and that you're going to make it very sort of loose and freeing, because that's what they need when they're 4 and 5 years old and 3 years old. So a lot of play-based learning, a lot of things that they learn will be because they're playing, and playing is their job. When they're 3, 4, 5 years old, that's their main job is to play. And they're not thinking on terms of having to learn concepts in order to please mom and dad, having to learn in order to please the teacher. They are learning because they are playing, they are having fun, and they don't realize that they're learning all the things you want them to learn because they're having so much fun with it. So play-based learning is so important at that age. So I highly recommend that everything you do for the younger kids is based around their play and their enjoyment. You want to make this time of their life a time of questioning and discovery. They will want to learn because they'll ask questions about the world around them. They'll ask questions everywhere they go. They'll point to things and they'll say, what's that? What's that? And why is this like that? And why is the water blue? And why is the sky blue? And why is this? And they will ask a lot of questions. So this is a perfect time to take those 3, 4, 5-year-olds, even older, but just focusing on these babies, the preschoolers, take them to museums, let them discover, take them to the library every week if you can. If you have a local library, take them to story times, take them to listen to other people, read them stories about the world, right? So I loved our local libraries when my kids were younger, and I would take them every single week to whatever story hour was available to make sure that my girls, when they were little, got a chance to hear other people reading stories about different cultures around the world, different stories, folklore, and classics, stories that children should probably hear at some point, the fairy tales and all the things that we want our kids to have been exposed to when they're little. So to have someone else other than mom sometimes read a story in a group setting with other children is a really good exposure to younger children. And I just think it just makes for a nice time where they can be exposed and be open to new environments, new people, not just mom and dad all the time, right? So that's what I really love about our library story times. And when you're out with your kids, maybe try to find some activities you can do at the zoo, at the aquariums, take them on field trips to local places that you think your kids would really love that include nature. So at some point in my homeschooling, I was all about nature-based homeschooling and really trying to find our place outside of living in the city that would incorporate more nature studies into our day. I was not completely successful with that when I tried that about 7 or 8 years ago. But nonetheless, that is such a crucial part in helping our kids to discover the world, is that life is more, if you live in a city, life is more than the concrete and the tall buildings, that there's so much to discover in lakes and rivers and forests and grass and trees and flowers. So really getting your kids exposed to nature and teach them about wildlife and teaching them about animals and really helping them to just feel like they're part of that world. I think that's really important. So if you live on a farm or a ranch, that's awesome. Your kids really get to have that. If you can visit a farm or a ranch with your kids every once in a while, that would be great. If you can go to a vegetable farm every once in a while and show your kids how fruit is harvested and bring home a pumpkin or bring home a case of strawberries and things like that. It just really makes for a fun experience for little kids. So lots of field trips for the kids. Lots of field trips. Okay, that's my first tip, is just really make it play-based learning and make it so that they're able to really involve themselves with the world around them and nature. My second tip is, if you plan to use curriculum with your little kids, use it very loosely. Okay, so I'm not saying don't use curriculum. I think curriculum is great because there's a reason we have it. There's a reason we have preschools. I taught in preschools before. My degree, actually my undergrad degree, is in child development. So one of the reasons I have a heart for these preschool age kids, but use curriculum and understand the scope and sequence of what kids should probably be learning at about 4 or 5 years old, and understand that, but also use it very, very loosely because kids all develop at different times and stages and ages. So don't hold your kids to that scope and sequence of what kids got to know in preschool, because they may not learn it in preschool. And some kids are super fast with it and may start learning how to read when they're 3, and other kids may start learning how to read when they're 6 or 7. So don't feel like this is the time for you to push academics. Just introduce it and let it envelop their life and be a part of it in a play-based way, but don't push it too hard. So I do have some recommendations for curriculum. You don't have to spend a lot of money for preschool. Please don't. I would just advise you, don't put too much money into preschool. If you must purchase something, I would not recommend a boxed curriculum set where you're paying hundreds and hundreds of dollars for preschool. Okay, I would recommend that you pick up little items here and there that can help them. And one thing that I'll show you are these books. So I have tabs here because I do teach preschool on OutSchool. So I use this for a reference sometimes, just to kind of see what, again, that scope and sequence is, what do kids need to learn at this age. But this is just a good kind of a resource, a reference, and you don't have to use all the pages in the book, and you don't have to feel like you're compelled to do all of it. But again, it is a great resource. So this is a kindergarten one, but they have preschool books, and you can find these everywhere: Walmart, Costco, Target. This is the Scholastic. So there's different, of course, brands and companies that create these curriculum books, but inside you'll find everything your kids need to know for different topics. So you'll find things that regarding alphabet. So here I've already separated this into the subject areas, but for me, I put alphabet and numbers, handwriting, basic concepts, phonics, and science. Science is kind of, like I said, to in my opinion, I don't really feel like you need worksheets for science for preschool. That's something you can just take your kids out in nature and show them the world, and that's science. But the main things for me would be phonics, the alphabet, so letter recognition, numbers, that would be counting and recognizing numbers, and then handwriting, of course, that's helping with fine motor skills. Basic concepts such as shapes and colors, that's important. And I'm going to get into that a little bit more now, now that I've already brought it up. So you can see that that's the basic scope of kindergarten and preschool in these workbooks. And of course, if you were to put your kids in school, they would go in a little bit more into depth in terms of science. They probably would do a couple of experiments or do a few things like watching maybe a bean sprout or something like that. You know, they're going to have more hands-on experiences in an actual school. This is just a workbook. So you're going to get what you're going to get with a workbook, right? That's why workbooks are mainly good for handwriting practice and kind of like letter recognition and colors and shapes and that kind of thing is what workbooks are good for. But you would want to take your workbook and you would want to bring it to life. So instead of just sticking to the book and just have your kid do worksheet after worksheet every day, you want to bring that to life for them. So if you're doing a page about shapes and colors, then you want to throughout the day point out shapes and colors in your house and talk about it, have discussions about it. You want to ask them, hey, what shape is that? What color is that? What letter is that? What sound does that letter make? Right? As you're walking down the street and you see a house, what is that? A house. What sound does house make? What sound does, what sound does house make? Right? And you're going to emphasize the letter H, right? And then they're going to say house. And then you're going to say, what letter makes that sound? H, the letter H. Then when you get home, maybe have them practice the letter H. I have some videos of me working with my youngest daughter when she was 4 years old. So I will link to that here. But we did some activities where she practiced handwriting, like skywriting with her finger and with shaving cream on a little tablet. I think it was just like a little tray where I poured shaving cream and she would practice writing, or she would practice making a letter with the shaving cream. So I did a lot of artsy, crafty kind of things with her because when she was 4, I was totally into that. And I wanted to just really get in there with her and help her learn. And it did help her because later on we started using Bob books, which is another recommendation I have for you. And that just doing the play-based learning with her and bringing in the letter and vowels, consonant sounds, and those kinds of things really helped us when she started learning to read, because she already had the visuals and the tactical touching the letters and tracing the letters with her finger, and that cemented the idea in her head that, oh, this is the letter H because I can draw it like this, or this is the letter I, it has a dot, so she's doing it with a finger, and then you take the pencil and do it with a pencil, right? So now shaving cream is another activity, again, that's fun. We did cotton balls, we did all kinds of things with learning letters in our everyday life. But then when it came time to actually learn how to read and sound out her phonics, it was easier for her, I think, because she'd already had that exposure with using art as a way to learn phonics. So I will post those videos, and in fact, maybe I'll even insert a little video here, like a flashback, so you can see some of our experience.
So we're making the letter C, which cotton begins with the letter.
So what is cotton?
It's what you're putting on the construction paper. Say k, cotton.
Cotton.
It begins with C. Just one little dot of glue, okay?
Okay.
Good job. Okay, turn it. When you're not using it, keep it right side up so it won't spill all over you.
That would look like a lipstick.
One dot, one dot. One dot. That's enough. Good. Good job.
I hope you enjoyed that flashback. It's a lot of fun looking at those days, and I do miss them, but I mean, it is what it is. Like, we're 10 years down the road now, and she's 14 and going into high school. So I thought I would show you guys that just so you can see that, you know, it was a lot of fun. And if you're homeschooling preschoolers right now, then you can have a blast with your kids and don't let it be super pressure. Another thing that I want to recommend is that you go digital. Okay, so we did a lot of things online and a lot of things virtually, like I said, a decade ago. So this was probably back in the day where a lot of homeschoolers were saying, stay away from the electronics. Electronics is the devil and all that. We were like embracing it, like bring it on, ABC Mouse, we want it. So I think it helped a lot, not having her be on it too much, but just enough where she, you know, her tech skills were like, you know, she just picks up things. Kids pick things up really fast. And nowadays it's, you know, a thing, or all our kids have your iPads and your phones, and they're doing, you know, they're working on your phone while you're trying to grocery shop. They've got your phone and they're playing games on it. That's so natural and normal to see today, but a decade ago it wasn't. It was kind of frowned upon, I guess, to have your kids on electronic devices. So anyway, I've always been about going digital. So if you can find online games that are educational, that can help your kids to learn, I would say go for it, because any way your children can learn, and they're like I said, they're sponges, they're soaking it in. Let them learn, let them do it. So ABC Mouse helped us a lot. And a lot of TV shows at that time that we were watching, educational shows, were helping tremendously. Go back to rewinding all the way back to 2003-ish. Now that's taken it way back, but my oldest daughter, who's now in college, when she was just a baby, we would have her watching Between the Lions, which was a show on PBS Kids at the time. And it was teaching kids how to read and how to do phonics, sounding out letters, with all these little animal characters and things. So if you remember that from back in the day, then you can leave me a comment and a shout out down below, because I'm taking it way back. But Between the Lions was such a good thing in our home, because I didn't have to lift a finger. I just let her watch that, and she started to learn to read really fast because of that show. I think that show had everything to do with her learning to read so fast. So use electronics, use games, online games, use virtual learning. And today I would recommend OutSchool. Use OutSchool. There's teachers like myself who care about your babies and who want to give them, you know, 20, 30 minutes per class to teach them these concepts. So I'm all about it. And if you want to find out more, I have a link below and I'll drop that. It's my OutSchool link, and I do teach preschool. So of all the things I do, that's one of them that is probably the most fun that I do, the most fun. I love a lot of things, I enjoy a lot, but teaching those babies, oh my gosh, I love it. So if you are not enjoying that and you want to hand that off to someone, I'll be glad to do that for you. Now, another thing I want to show you is when you're teaching, like I said earlier, I mentioned workbooks and those core subjects. So you have phonics and letter recognition. You have the fine motor skills that your kids are practicing by handwriting, learning to use that crayon and that pencil. And they're just getting that fine motor coordination is just starting to happen, really. So you have to be patient with them. Handwriting should not be looking perfect yet. So don't try to make them have perfect letters. And then also shapes and colors. To add to workbooks, you want to get things like cards. I use this in my OutSchool class. I love these flashcards because they're so simple. They have the word, the color, and the shape written on them. So if you only want to focus on one concept, you cover that up and just focus on the color, right? If you want to focus only on the shape, there's that. And there's, you know, the different shapes and colors and everything. But you get all of that if you go ahead and purchase something like this. This is from Carson DeLosa. I got this, I think, at Walmart. I'm not really sure, Target or something like that. So you will want to get a set of flashcards or make your own, but like you can just buy this. It'll last you forever. Another thing that I use for my preschool classes are these cutout shapes. So of course you can make your own shapes, but I like to use ones that have already been created because they're stylish and they're fun, and I didn't have to worry about my shapes being perfect. But You know, this for me was a small investment, but if you don't want to invest, you don't have to. You can create your own shapes at home and cut them out. And your student will begin to understand the different types of shapes besides circle, square, triangle, and rectangle. They'll be able to see these shapes like ovals and crescents, right? And hexagons and octagons. You can start teaching them those things at 3, 4, 5 years old. Another thing I would recommend is with counting and number recognition is to get some little counting cards. And, you know, mine goes up to 30 because this is really meant for a calendar. And I'll talk about calendar time in a minute. But I have these numbers, like these number cards. They're different colors. There's red on the back, black in the front. I use these in my preschool class too, but you can just count up to the number that you think that your student is able to count to, and then keep progressing until you get to 100. So we also had like a whole chart. We had like a calendar, a big display. I think I can show you. So once they start learning 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, then it's going to be easier for them to fill in the blanks because the pattern is the same. The thing is just counting with them every single week. And so I would count with my daughter. I might insert a video here, but I would count with her until she got to the point where circle time was easier. Counting was easier as we hit 25, and she would understand like we're getting to 30 soon, 35 to 40, 45 to 50, and so forth. So the more you do it, the easier counting becomes to your children. And then as they start understanding the sequence of counting, it gets easier for them as well because they're actually looking at the numbers as you're counting together. I had a little pointy hand. I still have it after all these years. I used to use this to point to the numbers as we were counting together. Another thing that I want to talk about as well is circle times. So when I do virtual circle time on OutSchool, it's a little different because it's virtual. But if you're with you're at home with your kids, you can have like a weather chart. So something like this. I know it's a little difficult to see right now, but I'll try to hold it up. And in these pockets, you're going to have those cards I showed you earlier with the numbers. So that way your kids can learn the days of the week with the numbers on the cards, right? And at the very bottom, there's like, today is this day, tomorrow is, yesterday was. So you'll have some days of the week cards that you'll want to put in your, if you're going to do circle time this way, you can have the days of the week so they can start understanding the 7 days of the week and be able to recite them. I have songs that I do with them. And then we have a song for months of the year that we do together. That way it helps your students to kind of say, hey, life is a cycle and we're on a weekly cycle and a monthly cycle, right? So they know they can say the months of the year, they can say the days of the week. And then each time you have in your meeting time, you can tell them today is whatever the date and the year, and get them used to the idea of us living in a set of time with a date. Days of the week. Okay. Now, a lot of you know the song that's Days of the Week. Days of the Week. It's Monday and it's Tuesday. But I'm going to do a different version of that song. It's something that we made up and we actually like it. And it's a little different, but this is our version. Monday, like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Woo! Yay! All right, next we're going to do our month of the year.
Jellyfish.
Okay. And you see, as I switch out these really quickly, it's easy because I have a clip at the top of this, and I just clip everything on as I switch them out. So, Okay,
I
months of the year.
I thought we doing touching.
No, we're going to do months of the year. Okay, do you know your months yet?
No.
We need to learn our months. What month are we in this month?
October.
Yes, we're in October. Give me 5. Yay. Now, do you know all the months of the year?
No.
No, let's learn them. Okay?
October.
January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October.
By A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yesterday was
Sunday.
Sunday. What did we do on Sunday?
We went to
We went
church.
to church. Sit back a little.
That's easy to say.
That's right. Today is
Monday.
yes, and tomorrow will be
Wednesday. Thursday.
Tuesday. Very good. Very
Getting
good.
close to it.
Today is October the 29th. Very good. Okay, do you know your ABCs?
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, H, I, J, K, L, M,
Okay.
N, P.
Let's say the sounds of the letters, not the name of the letters, just the sound, okay? You ready? Sit back, sit back, sit
A, B,
back. B,
S, K, D,
E,
S, J,
or G.
G,
Mhm.
H,
E, W,
Y,
what's
A,
this? X. Why is it? Good, you did that so fast. Good, slow down. Okay, but you know them. You know your alphabet. Good.
to the left.
Counting. All right.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8,
Slow it
9,
down. 1,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
5,
6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
10.
I can do it so fast.
And we don't want to do it fast. We just want to do it. We want to do it well, but not fast. All right. Slow it down. 1. No. Listen. Look at me. You're going to count with me. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. You're going to count with me. Okay? Don't go faster than me. Okay? Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lastly, integrating art and music. So I kind of already touched on art. You can integrate art with learning phonics. Remember the skywriting. Remember the shaving cream and the cotton balls that we would do like print out a letter and then have your student take cotton balls and dip it in a little glue and just take the cotton balls and kind of outline that letter with the cotton balls. So you can do things like that, or you can just have them color and decorate and put sequins and things all over their letters and numbers. So that helps. Another thing is, besides art, is music. I think music and movement is really, really important in teaching young kids, because if they're not moving around and you have them sitting still doing these workbook pages, that's boring. They're gonna do it because they want to get that sticker that you're gonna give them, or they're gonna do it because they might feel accomplished because you're proud of them. But if that's all they're doing all the time, it can be a little boring, a little dry, a little dull, a little routine and monotonous. So I would say spice it up. Add some music. You don't have to be a music person. You don't have to know music. You don't have to play music. You can essentially find audios. You can find Spotify music for kids that are dealing with the topic that you're talking about that day. So are you talking about a specific color? Look for the color red. Look for a song about the color red. Look for a song on Spotify. Look for a song on YouTube Kids. And I recommend YouTube Kids because, well, there used to be where there were no ads on it. I think there are ads now, but it's clean. You don't have to worry about like videos that are, rated something that you wouldn't want your children to watch. So YouTube Kids is really great for that. You can find lots of folk songs and things on YouTube Kids, and just encourage your kids to express themselves, to dance, to be free. I'm just kind of like that. I like to, when they were younger, we did like princess tea parties and all this kind of stuff. So I would have scarves and we would just dance around and listen to music. And I just encourage like free expression. So if you don't have something like this, you might want to try. I know it's a little noisy, but it's a musical instrument that if you don't want to purchase a keyboard or a guitar or ukulele, which I think is cool, but like when the kids are really little, sometimes their little hands just need something very easy to, like a drum or something. And if you don't want drums and you want to try something like this, you can try a glockenspiel or marimba or xylophone, whatever way you want to look at it. And then just allow them to play, okay? This helps them to get used to the sounds of the piano if maybe they're interested in piano later, but they're not quite ready yet and they just want to play around. Something like this, it's easy to transport. It's cheap. I got it on Amazon for like, I think 20 or 30 bucks. It wasn't that much. And you just fold it up and take it with you wherever you want. So things like that can add music to your school to liven it up. Music and art and dance and free expression, science and nature. That to me is a beautiful and full experience of preschool at home. So that's all I have for you right now. And thank you so much for watching this entire video. And if you're interested in more information about preschool, I would love to talk with you about that age group. Like I said, it's one of my passions. So you can reach out to me. I do homeschool coaching. So if you want to talk more in detail, if you really need some specifics or a program or a plan, you can reach out to me at christianhomeschoolmoms.com/homeschool-coach. And I will be your homeschool coach for that. If you would love to have me talk to you about that, I offer coaching packages and you can look that up and see how I can help you. And we'll see if you and I are a good fit for each other for coaching sessions. And I'll leave my OutSchool link below as well. If you have preschoolers and would love to have them join me, I would love to have them throughout the week. So check that out. And that's all I have for now. Thank you so much for watching and you have an awesome week. Bye.